Hello everyone, my name is Sarah and today I'm going to talk about my anxiety story and what helped me heal. And my hope is that maybe some of my story you can relate to, or some of the tips or things that I've used to heal might be able to help you too. Okay, so basically, I have always had a predisposition to anxiety. Primarily, I've always been very socially anxious and afraid that others are judging me or criticizing me. I was bullied a lot in high school and in middle school, and I think that kind of set me up to be a little bit more socially anxious or shy. And I've also haven't always had the best body image, which I'm working on. I'm still working on it today. It's a work in progress. But when I went to college, I really was not taking care of my body, and that's when my anxiety really started to spiral out of control. I was eating too much or eating too little. I was never eating the right amount, and I was not eating nutritiously. I was drinking a lot of alcohol, partying my butt off. I went to school in Miami, so I was always partying. I was also a perfectionist, so I was getting straight A's and working my butt off. So I was working hard, playing hard, and not sleeping very much. So as you might imagine, this set my body up to be anxious because there is a mind-body connection. If you're a person that just tends to get a little bit more anxious easily, if you're not taking care of your physical body, your mind will just go whoop. And I know that from experience. So eventually, all this not sleeping, drinking alcohol, eating too much or eating too little, and not eating nutritious foods, and all the stress of college in and of itself and being a perfectionist caught up with me. And one day in class, bam, I fainted in front of everybody. And let me tell you, it was scary to begin with. I realized that day that I am not invincible. Not only was it scary, it was extremely embarrassing. So I fainted in front of the whole class, and I did not like that experience without an audience, but I certainly did not like it with an audience. I was mortified and terrified, and I didn't like people seeing me in that state, let alone a huge classroom full of people. So after that, I naturally got preoccupied with the experience of fainting, and I said, what if that happens again? That was so scary, that was so embarrassing. What if that happens again? And I started to have panic attacks. And at the time, I didn't realize that they were connected to this experience, but now I do now. I thought the panic attacks were coming out of nowhere. I was having 5 to 10 panic attacks a day, feeling like I was just going to die. If I had a slight signal from my body that maybe I might faint. And I was imagining all these signals because I was so petrified by the experience of fainting. But if I thought that maybe something wasn't right with my body, if I had a weird digestive pain, let's say, it would spiral me into a panic attack. And I would I felt like I was going to die during these panic attacks. I feared for my life, couldn't breathe, heart beating super fast, thought I was having a heart attack, thought I was going crazy, you name it. Every day while this was going on, I would wake up with absolute dread. I thought I was going to feel this way forever, and it was never going to end, and I was just waiting for the panic attack. 5 times a day, sometimes 6 times a day. I kind of got to the point where I'm like, if this is life, what's the point of living? I was just so scared all the time. Scared of having a panic attack, scared of other people judging me, scared of something being wrong with my body from fainting. I was just scared all the time. Okay, so on the outside, I looked perfect, but on the inside, I was dying. I was getting really good grades, functioning really well, but I was not well in my head. And again, eating too much or too little, not eating nutritious foods, drinking alcohol to cope with it all, and not sleeping, which was setting me up for more panic. And at the time, I didn't realize that it was, but it was. Okay, so how did I heal? Well, let me tell you something. I thought I was going to feel this way forever. I thought I was never going to get better. And here I am, better. And if you're going through this, you can get better too. And I promise that to you. So just hold the hope. That's my one piece of advice to you. Hold the hope. And there's no easy answer. It takes time. So be patient with yourself. So basically, I tried a lot of things. I wanted a quick fix, and I wanted the answer. I went to therapists, and I said, just give me the answer. How do I make this go away? And what I know now is that healing is not a quick fix. It's a journey. But I can tell you a couple of the things that helped me along my journey. And it's different for everyone. So what helped me might not help you. But it might. So I read an article that changed my life. And I'll put the link in the bio of this. In this video at the bottom. But it's called What You Fear Most Cannot Happen. So I read that article, and I'm going to pull it up on the computer now so I can give you some of the information about the article. But this article changed my life. So let me pull it up. It is written by a very good anxiety doctor. Sorry, bear with me. My computer is super slow. I can start reading the first part of the article that I see here in Google. Okay, here it is. Okay. So basically the article is, it's written by Thomas Richards, who is a psychologist, and it goes through all the things that you think are happening to you when you're having a panic attack, and it scientifically tells you why none of those things can actually happen. So here goes. I'm going crazy. Have you ever thought this while you're having a panic attack? Well, the article says, no one with panic attacks and anxiety has ever gone crazy. In fact, because you realize that you have panic attacks, this is just another indication that you are not going crazy. People that go crazy lose contact with reality. Anxious people are too much in contact with reality. Thus, people with panic and anxiety problems never go crazy. It simply cannot happen. Then, another big one, I'm going to pass out. So this is the one that I thought was going to happen to me all the time. And scientifically, the article says temporary dizziness leads people with panic to feel that they may pass out. This is not possible because during panic, your heart beats faster and your blood pressure rises. As the blood pressure rises, it becomes impossible for you to pass out. When people faint or pass out, it's because of a sudden drop or lowering in blood pressure. That was extremely validating for me because I had a big fear about passing out from a panic attack. Can't happen. Some of the other things that can't happen that the article talks about is having a heart attack. The article scientifically tells you why you can't have a heart attack. And another fear is I will stop breathing and suffocate. This is a big one that I had, and it tells you in the article why that also can't happen. And another one, I'm losing control. So it's a great read. It scientifically kind of debunks all those myths that people have about their panic attacks and tells you that panic attacks are just not a dangerous experience. They feel dangerous, but scientifically it has been proven that they're actually not dangerous. They're just temporary feelings that are extremely distressing and actually do go away if you just kind of ride through them. And the average panic attack, I think, lasts like 15 minutes, I read somewhere. So it usually passes pretty quickly. So if you can ride that wave and expose yourself to your fear, eventually you kind of get more desensitized to that fear of the panic attack. Okay, so I went on a little panic attack rampage, but that article really helped me. Some other things that helped me were being patient with myself. I wanted to get better now, and I realized that wasn't going to happen unless I rested and relaxed. And thank God I did and took my time. I cut back on some of the things I was doing that were destructive, like social engagements and drinking, things that I didn't need to be doing. I cut my schedule back a little bit just to give myself some time for relaxing and resting. Treating your body good so the mind is set up for healing also helps. So I want to say, like, I'm not a dietitian or a expert by any means, but I will say that chamomile tea, magnesium supplements, and a supplement called OptiMag Neuro by Zymogen. Again, that's called OptiMag Neuro by Zymogen. You usually have to get it from a nutritionist or a doctor who sells the product. Really, these things really, really help. And I'm saying that genuinely. I do not get endorsed by any of these brands like Zymogen, but it really helps. Doing lots of small things and not one big thing helps too. So figuring out what makes you feel better. Who in your life makes you feel better? How do you relax? If you don't know how to relax, maybe exploring ways to relax. Yoga works for a lot of people. Can you cut some of the stressors in your life down? Just doing lots of little small things makes a big difference. There's no one big answer. Emotional support really helps. So joining support groups, there's a website called meetup.com, and you can find a lot of support groups through meetup.com if you just type in anxiety support group. It depends where you live in the country, but I live in a pretty urban area, so there's a lot out there. But if you live in a rural area, you can also use Facebook. It's a great tool. There's lots of anxiety support groups on there. You can go to different websites. There's a organization called National Alliance for Mental Illness, and they have a lot of support groups. And they're usually free, which is great. You do not need to go through this alone. Seeing a therapist or a psychiatrist can also be helpful to some. I personally didn't see a psychiatrist. I wanted to get through this without medication, but medication really helps a lot of people. And I think it could have helped me a lot at certain points. So I think medication can be helpful for a lot. Seeing a therapist, like I said, can be helpful for people. Maybe making sure you see a therapist that specializes in anxiety, treating anxiety. The biggest thing, I think, is learning to not fear your fear. Fear is just a feeling. It will pass. It's not dangerous. It's just a feeling. Just because you think something, it doesn't mean it's true. And yeah, yoga, meditation works for a lot of people. Didn't really work for me, but I'm actually trying to do more yoga now. I don't think I gave it a fair shot. Patience is key. Try things, be patient with yourself, and eventually when you start doing all these small little things to make yourself feel better, whatever it is that makes you feel better, emotional support, having, people to talk to about this, taking care of your body, doing those self-care activities that make you feel good, eventually you will heal. I promise you. Anxiety is so common, so you really, really can bounce back from it. I hope my story and some of my advice helped you, and please feel free to leave a comment if you want another video on anxiety. I do know a lot about the topic and can tell you about the specifics of anxiety disorders and what goes on within your body. For me, something that also really helped was educating myself. I actually went back to school to study social work because I was so passionate about helping people who have anxiety. And let me tell you, going back to school was the biggest healing for me because I love school. So, it's reconnecting with the things you love that make you feel good, but also taking the time to relax and cut down your schedule and take care of your body so your mind can feel better. That really, really helps. So I hope you took something away from this. And like I said, feel free to leave a comment. Bye, guys.